Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is my initial comparison between the Jordan Zion 1 and the Jordan Zion 2. So they're exactly the same price, going for 120 bucks. If you guys do want to cop either of these shoes, I try to leave an affiliate link in the description box. The Zion 1 is actually all sold out on Nike.com. I just looked right now, and same with the Zion 2. It's not available in the Hope Diamond colorway or the Voodoo colorway anymore, which sucks. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, it is available again, but we'll have to see on that. So if you guys do want to cop, I try to leave a link in the description box, but let's get it started off with the Attracciones. And the Zion 1 and the Zion 2 traction pattern is extremely different, which of course is a good thing. I like how it changes, right? But anyways, here in the Zion 1 for performance, it was pretty good on a clean court. It had a solid bite, not top tier though. Has a little bit of a squeak, and dust wasn't the best. It did pick up dust pretty quickly, but it was an overall pretty easy wipe if I remember correctly. So traction was overall pretty solid here in the Zion 1, but the Zion 2 actually feels like it's top tier, right? I just tried it on my wood floors. It seems like it's gonna be a very good bite, and of course we'll have to see on the dust pickup. But yeah, the bite so far initially right now, I mean, like, I tried both of these shoes on my wood floors right now. The Zion 2 feels a little bit better, so I have high hopes for the Zion 2. But as far as the durability goes, I feel like the Zion 1's definitely better. The rubber is a lot harder on the Zion 1. The Zion 2, the grooves are actually really thin, and it moves with the movement of my finger very easily. So I feel like the Zion 1 is going to be better for outdoor use if you're playing on outdoor court, right? So there is the traction there. As far as the heel to toe transition goes, I mean, the Zion 1 also was very smooth. We have a very rounded shape here in the heel and pretty much fully exposed midsole, as you guys can see. Nice curve shape here in the forefoot and a lot of forefoot flex, right? And also midfoot flex, right? So torsion support wasn't the best here in the Zion 1, but I didn't really have any issues with my arch. But there's that. And then here in the Zion 2, we have, it's a little clunky here in the heel just because it is very caged, but we have a nice rounded shape, so it's not a huge issue, but it does feel a little clunky here in the heel, right? And then in the forefoot, we have a pretty nice curve shape and a lot of forefoot flex, but no issues with torsional support. It feels like there is probably like a midfoot shank plate here in the midfoot, so it does feel a little bit more like rigid, just a tiny bit more than the Zion 1, and also a little bit more clunky here in the heel. So overall, right now the Zion 1 feels a little bit smoother, but the Zion 2 isn't terrible at all. All right, moving on to the cushioning setup. The Zion 1 was really nice. I absolutely love full length air strobel. So it's very soft. There's nice compression. It's not as bouncy as Zoom, but there still is a nice little rebound bag. Step and comfort is absolutely amazing. The court feel still was good here in the Zion 1. Impact protection was amazing. There is a 4-foot zoom unit. I believe it was like bottom loaded from like the air strobel unit. But there wasn't any type of like extra bounce that I felt from that zoom unit, so it was just like the air strobel unit that I felt, right? But here in the Zion 2, they did switch it up, so we have an air strobel unit, but it's not full length. It's only in the heel and also like most of the midfoot, right? And it feels pretty much the same in the heel, right? Besides, I guess, the actual compression from the midsole, but the overall air strobel unit feels exactly the same in the heel, right? I do like how there is still nice compression. This foam is actually still quite soft, although it is very caged. But the Zion 1 is exposed, and it's a little bit softer for the foam. And also we have a 4-foot zoom unit in the Zion 2 as well, but it does say that it is 20% bigger just because the air strobel unit is not in the 4-foot anymore, right? And you can definitely feel it. It's super easy to feel. It feels like it's top loaded and you can feel it right underneath your foot, which I like. You feel that nice bounce and compression in the 4-foot. So overall, I feel like I like the Zion 2 like cushioning setup just a tiny bit more, just because I like that bounce that I get in the 4-foot, and I like that softness from the air strobel unit in the heel, as opposed to feeling air strobel unit in like full length. You know what I mean? Just in my personal opinion, but of course, if you like air strobel, then the Zion 1 still feels great. The court feel also feels very similar. They both feel very nice. Moving on to the material. So yeah, the Zion 2 definitely feels a lot better as far as the quality goes, right? So the Zion 1, they're using really cheap like mesh materials, and also look at the fuse. The fuse is super cheap as well, especially for like a $120 shoe. I guess $120 is more on the cheaper side of things, but like the PG6 with the textile material is still like a lot nicer than this, you know what I mean? And the PG6 is 110 bucks. But here in the Zion 2, we still have like a mesh material, but the mesh material in the forefoot definitely does feel better. And then the synthetic also feels a lot more like quality, even though it's more like a synthetic material. And also for the tongue, there definitely is more padding, right? The Zion 1 had like targeted padding zones in the tongue, which I didn't really like. And around the perimeter of the tongue, it's like super thin. The Zion 2 is just more of a traditional tongue and still has like pretty minimal padding, but it has more padding than Zion 1, which I like. And then in the ankle area, we have nice Achilles pads, which feel great on like the ankle bone, and it does improve the lockdown in the heel as well. Also, we have a strap, as you guys can see. We have a strap here in the forefoot. Doesn't really do a whole lot for extra lockdown in my personal opinion, but it does improve upon the lateral containment and support, which we'll get into. The Zion 1 though, we had these eyelets that do come down, like these little straps that come down into the material for extra support, but of course it's not as much support as this strap, right? So overall, I mean, if you want the better quality material, the Zion 2 is definitely better, but if you want the thinner material, then obviously the Zion 1 is better. So there's that, but also the Zion 2 isn't like super bulky or super thick or stiff at all. It actually feels pretty nice on foot. It conforms to your foot still actually very well. So in my personal opinion, I mean, like, I like a thinner material a little bit better, but the Zion 2 is still nice, right? All right, moving on to the fit. I went true to size for both of the shoes, and they both fit me very, very well, but the Zion 1 is definitely a little bit more snug, right? So if you guys can see, like, look at that. The Zion 1 is a little bit narrower. It feels like kind of like more towards the edge of the shoe, edge of the toe box. So be careful if you have a normal foot or a wide foot. This is actually pretty damn narrow. And then here in the toe box, I mean, they're both pretty snug. I would actually say they're around the same. And then lengthwise, I was good going true to size, but if you don't want a super snug fit in either of the shoes, I would suggest going up half the size, right? Moving on to the support and lockdown, I mean, I had zero issues with the Zion 1, but I feel like the Zion 2 takes it to another level just because it's using old school materials, right? It does overall feel more supportive, but also still like pretty thin and minimal on foot, which I like. So I mean, I feel like if you want ultimate support, then probably the Zion 2 is better, but I really had zero issues with the Zion 1 for lateral containment and support. Let's see the lateral stability though. The Zion 1 was crazy. Look at the outrigger, right? Oh my goodness. So the Zion 2 actually has a little bit of an outrigger, so it is a pretty wide base, but the Zion 1 is crazy. Look at that. I don't know why they made it like narrower in the Zion 2, just because, I mean, Zion, he's super athletic, he's gonna be jumping and landing, and you want good lateral stability, you know what I mean? So I don't know why they made it like a little bit narrower in the Zion 2, but I don't think it's gonna be too big of an issue. So there's that. Moving on to the weight, I actually feel like the Zion 1 is gonna be a little bit lighter, even though the Zion 2 is also like not as heavy as I thought. Yeah, so 12.13 ounces for the 1, and then the 2 is like 13.26, right? So it's like an ounce lighter for the Zion 1, and that definitely makes sense. Mesh is way lighter than synthetic, like leather materials. So does it feel lighter though? It definitely feels a little bit lighter and a little bit more minimal, especially like because there's no strap and stuff like that. But the Zion 2 definitely doesn't feel super heavy either. So there is the weight there. Moving on to the aesthetics, yeah, the Zion 2 definitely. The Zion 2 looks awesome. Zion 1, it was alright. I mean, it definitely wasn't ugly. I don't like the fuse though. The fuse definitely looks super cheap, especially in this colorway. So yeah, in my personal opinion, the Zion 2 definitely does look better. Tell us what you guys think looks better down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, the Zion 1 was a solid performer. It just felt a little short just because of the traction performance on dust. That's why I didn't play in the Zion 1 as much, right? But it was still a very, very solid shoe. The Zion 2, however, the traction feels like it's gonna be top tier, and then the cushion feels even nicer than the Zion 1 in my personal opinion. I don't like how it's a little bit heavier, but it doesn't feel super heavy or bulky right now, and it feels like it's gonna be overall like a responsive shoe as well, and just crazy supportive too. So I'm liking the Zion 2 overall a little bit better right now as far as my initial comparison goes. So anyways, that about wraps it up. Again, if you guys do want to cop either of these shoes, I try to leave an affiliate link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.